Let's start off with Google Home. Google Home is this physical device that you can put in your living room or wherever, which has an integrated Google Voice Assistant, which is now much more responsive, and it's a little bit better than Google Now currently is. So Google Home is a little bit personalizable to fit your lifestyle or the room that it's going to be in, with different colors of the base that you can order when buying it. And it can also control, activate, and so on to any smart home devices that you have, such as a smart light bulb or a smart thermostat. And it can even control things such as Bluetooth speakers. And if your speaker is not a smart speaker or a Bluetooth speaker, you can just connect the Chromecast audio into it, and then Google Home will be able to control that speaker, which is really nice, I think. And it can play things on your TV, it can set timers, add calendar events, everything that you can expect Google Now to do. And it also has this thing called follow-up questions, as Google calls it. It pretty much allows you to first ask a question such as, what's the director of this movie? And then Google Now answers it. And later on you can ask, okay Google, what's his age? And then Google will take the context from the previous question and then answer your current question. You can sign up for Google Home at google.com/home right now. Another thing that Google announced was Google Allo. Allo is this new messaging platform which has a couple of neat and really nice features which I'm going to talk about. One of them is Whisper Shout, so you can hold the send button, the arrow, hold it down, swipe up to make your text larger, or swipe down to make your text smaller. And that allows you to pretty much express yourself in more and easier ways. So you can scream by swiping up and making the text louder, and you also don't have to use caps lock anymore to shout at your friends. There's also another thing that was added, which is pretty much ink, so you can draw on any photos that you sent to your mates. There's a couple of different colors that you can choose from, and that's a feature that I've waited for so long. And there's also Smart Reply, which was added. Smart Reply comes from Inbox, so Google has already trained Smart Reply. It already knows how to make it work effectively. So Smart Reply is going to suggest a couple replies to a friend's message based on their context, and it uses machine learning to enhance the experience by learning about the way you use English, the way you type, the way you say things. So it's going to suggest things that are more personalized to you and that are actually going to sound like you, not like a machine. And then another cool feature with Smart Reply is that it also works with pictures now. So because of Google Photos, Google has been able to develop their image identification software, and now Google Allo is able to give simple suggestions on reactions to a picture. So if your friend sends you over a picture of spaghetti, Google actually can identify a lot of details. One thing that they showed was pasta, and Google was able to identify the type of pasta and the fact that there were also clams in the pasta. There's also this Google kind of chatbot that's integrated, so you can type at Google while in your friends or group chat, and this way you can interact with the assistant. So you can type at Google and then maybe Italian restaurants nearby, and then you can hit enter, and Google will show its little kind of quick preview of all the restaurants that you would normally see on Google searches, and is going to display this to the entire chat. So people can now interact with that module, and they can click on a certain restaurant, and then you're going to see that restaurant specifically. You can also make Google order something, so Google will ask you, do you want to order, what time do you want the reservation to be, and so on. So that's a really, really nice feature, which I hope is going to work well once Allo is out. And at Google is also a separate chat or separate contact in the list, and you can pretty much talk to it. So if you're ever really lonely, you can talk to Google yourself. So now Google has become more personalized. You can play a couple of games. One is called emoji title guessing. So pretty much makes a movie title out of emojis, and you have to guess the title of that movie. And Allo also works with follow-up questions if you're talking to Google alone. So you can just ask Google, tell Google to set some reminders or whatever, and it's going to take the context from previous questions as well. And then there's incognito mode, which you can use with your friends. And incognito mode pretty much is end-to-end encrypted, and also displays private notifications so no one can sneak around your conversation and see what you're talking about with your friend. and also has this expiring chats, so your chats get deleted after a certain amount of time, which you can change in the settings. So hopefully this service is going to be great when it comes out. I really can't wait for it. And you can find it on Google Play Store and pre-register right now. Another service that Google announced is Duo. Duo is a one-to-one video calling service which is both end-to-end encrypted and also uses phone numbers to recognize people and contacts. So that's how you add and find people, by using their phone numbers. And it works on Android and iOS, so it's compatible on two of the biggest operating systems. And then there's a special features that distinguishes this from, for example, FaceTime. That feature is called Knock Knock. Knock Knock pretty much allows you to see a preview of the video feed from the person that is calling you. So before actually having to answer the call, Duo will show a preview of the person's camera. And that way you can see if it's an important video call that you might have to take, so if it's an emergency. So it gives an easier choice to either pick up or decline video call from that one friend that can sometimes be very annoying. Both Duo and Allo will be available in summer for Android and iOS. And then we have one of the biggest expected things at Google I/O, Android N. It still doesn't have a name, it's Android N. Although I'm not sure if I quite believe that, but Google does allow people to suggest any names at android.com/n. So if you want to suggest a name, go ahead and do that. So what's new? There's a Vulkan API, which is now more efficient and allows for better performance, so you can have more detail and special effects with the same amount of FPS. Apps can now install 75% faster than previously on Android M. The code size is now 50% less when compiled with the Vulkan API, which is quite amazing. So there's finally going to be more room for apps, and there's going to be more free storage for people who have devices with 16 or 32 gigabytes, which from what I know can be a lifesaver, because 16 and 32 is not enough for very many cases. Android N also supports file-based encryption compared to the block encryption as Android M had it, so each individual file will be encrypted separately in Android N, so it's more secure. It's going to also have advanced auto updates, which are seamless updates, and Chromebook users will be familiar with this. So pretty much the phone will have two system images, and new app update for the operating system is going to be downloaded in the background and then saved in the second system image. And then once the phone is turned off and then turned on by the user at any given time, the phone will boot up into the new system image. So pretty much you're not going to have that annoying loading screen when updating your phone, which is going to make life great because that one took ages to load. So that's just all going to happen in the background now. And also there's going to be a safety check within apps, which is going to stop or uninstall any apps that are behaving suspiciously. So this is another security feature that's added. Another feature which is really nice is that apps that aren't being used very often are going to be automatically closed. So if you click the multitask button on the bottom of the screen and you have a lot of apps, so any apps that you haven't used for a given amount of time, for a long period of time, are automatically going to be closed. So that's going to free up a little bit of RAM, a little bit of processing power, and get a little bit more battery juice for those that have a lot of apps open usually. So battery will hopefully improve a little bit. And there's finally a clear all button in the multitasking menu. This is something that I didn't understand why it didn't exist in Android M. I remember that Cyanogen OS had that, and that is one of the reasons why I would actually consider getting Cyanogen, just because of that. It's such a useful feature. So great Google that you finally added it, thank you. And then some other features which have been already kind of known in the previous developer previews are multi-windows and split screen. So now if you double tap the multitask icon, you are going to go to a previous app, which is very nice. And multi-windows will exist in two versions. So there's going to be split screen and picture-in-picture. Both of these are self-explanatory, but picture-in-picture is only going to work on Android TV. So you can have a YouTube video playing while you search something on Google or while you do anything else on your Android TV. And then split screen is going to work on any Android device, tablet or phone or whatever. To enable split screen on your phone, all you have to do is long tap or long press the multitask button, and that's going to activate a little menu which you can choose an app to appear on the bottom half of the screen. Okay, in Android N they've also added better notifications, so now you can have quick reply where you don't actually have to open the app, so you can just reply directly from the notifications, which is going to save a little bit of time. And also Android N will support Unicode 9, which is going to have better support for emojis, so the graphics of emojis are going to be more detailed, a little bit better, and it will also allow for more skin tone variations. And in addition to that, we are going to get 72 new emojis. Although there were rumors that Google was going to launch a VR headset, even though it kind of happened, it didn't, but I'll explain. So first of all, I want to start by saying that 50 million virtual reality apps have been installed on Android, and what Google has created and announced is Daydream, which is a new virtual platform made by Google. And in order to use it, you need what Google calls a Daydream-ready smartphone, and there's going to be specific specifications that the phone might need. It's going to need a processor and GPU that can handle virtual reality graphics. The screen will have to have some sort of specific latency, and there's a couple other factors that will also influence what makes a Daydream-ready smartphone. And Google managed to support 20 millisecond latency rates on phones, which is really good, and that's pretty much the best that we could possibly want for phones. And it also made a reference design of a VR headset. So it's kind of like Google Cardboard, but it's much better as it's going to be based on Android, and it's going to have a controller as well. So how Google Cardboard was open source, anyone could manufacture different versions. The same thing is going to happen with the reference design of the VR headset that Google has announced. And the controller is going to have a round clickable trackpad and a bunch of sensors that are going to track the movement of your hand and where it's located. So that's going to apply a few new uses onto virtual reality for hopefully a much lower price than similar headsets. So hopefully it's going to maintain the low price and be affordable for everyone. So another thing that Google did is a Daydream app, or like kind of a home screen for virtual reality. And you can look at, buy, and download virtual reality apps while in VR itself. So it's a much nicer and better experience if you really want to use VR that much. And it's called Daydream Home, and that's pretty much the home screen for virtual reality apps, the Play Store, which is going to just have virtual reality applications shown to you. There are already some supported new apps for virtual reality. Play Movies are going to have a couple movies that are supporting virtual reality, which is pretty neat. Google Street View is also going to work, and also Google Photos will work. So you can load up Google Photos and find some 360 sphere that you've created and look at that. And all of this will be available in the Android N preview, which you can obviously download right now. Android Wear 2.0 was also released during Google I/O this year, and now Android Wear is going to work both on Android phones and iPhones as well. So now people with iPhones can use Android Wear. Watch faces can now show data from any app. For example, you can have a small weather info icon on your watch face, and that can tell you the weather from a weather app, or you can have some fitness stats and so on. So that's going to allow quick information to be accessible just from the watch face itself, which is nice. And also there's going to be Smart Reply, which is going to work using the same system from Inbox and Allo now. So it's going to suggest replies based on the context of the message that you received. And handwriting input is also added and improved. Fitness can now work without a phone. So your smartwatch can actually track your fitness, your steps, your movement, which is nice. And you can also have Spotify on your smartwatch without the need of a phone. So if you go running and you have a smartwatch that has an audio jack or speakers, you can listen to music with just your smartwatch. So it's pretty much becoming a standalone smartwatch. And there's also some standalone apps that are going to be released, and developers can make these as well. Other couple of things that have been announced are Accelerated Mobile Pages, or AMP, which pretty much allows you to instantly load pages after searching Google. So if you search a specific topic, a couple pages from different news websites, for example, are going to be able to open very quickly. This saves a lot of data. The data usage is only 1/10 of what you would normally use up to load pages. And Android Studio 2.0 is going to be released. Instant runs are 10 times faster, and emulator launches are 3 times faster, which is hopefully going to save a lot of time because emulator launches really loaded for a long time. And there's also easier UI designing with a couple new features that just make it easier, and some other improvements that you can check out yourself today at g.co/Android Studio. And that's all that Google I.O. had to offer in the first day. I hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. If you didn't, make sure to hit the dislike button and comment below on any suggestions or improvements that I can make. And subscribe if you want to find out when I make more content. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.